Hello, everyone. Do you want to know how you can use supplements to beat the holiday stress? We're going to be talking to you about that today here on the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. Do you want? My name is Jason Steves. I am a nutrition professional at the Nutrition and Health Center, and I'm joined by my co-host, Steve Steves, who is a certified clinical nutritionist and naturopath. He's been doing it for 30 years, helping clients overcome health problems, all sorts of different health problems. And we come here and give you information, health information, nutrition information every week here on the Prosper Nutrition Show. Thank you for joining us. And Steve, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jason. It's a beautiful time to be alive with freedoms being restored everywhere we go. Specifically, I think about the freedom in our body to have the ability to handle stress in this time of year. And it's a great topic to talk about
Mm-hmm.
and how we can use nutrients and these compounded nutrients that are synergistic that work to activate your stress handling, help you keep you calm when things are heightened in stress, and to help bring back that energy when you're lacking that motivation or that drive. We
Yeah.
have these highs and lows in the days. It'd be great to talk a little bit about that and the effect of our hormones and how our lifestyle certainly impacts all of that.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about some supplements today, but folks, we educate on 7 proven steps. You can get a free download about those 7 proven steps on prospernutrition.com. Supplements is one of those 7 areas that we teach on. We've been distilling these principles down over the last 30 years of helping clients at the Nutrition and Health Center. And now we have the blessing to be able to share the supplement formulas we've been using with our clients in our own bodies, our own families for years now. And we want to share that with you through prospernutrition.com. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, answer any questions you have regarding these supplements or any health questions that you want to share with us. We'd be happy to help. If you want to get on a personalized nutrition plan, you can do that at our office, nutritionandhealthcenter.com. You can set up an appointment to get a personalized plan based on your individual biochemical needs. But yeah, as we mentioned, we're going to focus on helping you understand certain supplements that can help you beat the holiday stress and what that looks like. Steve, what in your experience, when you have clients come in, they're talking about being stressed, what is something that you tend to teach them about stress, how to handle stress in general?
Well, it's a very broad topic, and there's a really good book out there. I don't have a copy with me, but it's called uh, Adrenal Fatigue: The 21st Century Stress Syndrome by
Mm-hmm.
James Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today, we can't cover them all the things that affect our stress and how you can rejuvenate through lifestyle. And of course, our 7 proven steps. Thank you, Jason. Our 7 proven steps certainly gets to the core of that. And within each step, you have a lot of different things that can take place, like, what type of exercise should I be doing? Because
Mm.
exercise affects how we handle stress,
Yep.
and vice versa. It gives us ability to handle stress. And I know that's your forte, Jason. I'm so thankful for how you have sought out areas of wisdom in this line of work that you do and what you've given me, being diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis and told I'd be in a wheelchair the rest of my life. God put you in my life, and now we've been working together, coming into our 17th year,
Mm.
and so excited for the things that we see up and coming. I know you've been seeing more appointments as a naturopathic individual, and your belief system and your operations all these years of your life. That's the only thing you've known.
Right.
It's exciting just talking to you. Your whole lingo just lines up with truth, um, which is the truth that our website and our products are based on. 3 John 2, what God wants for us is to prosper and be in health. So,
Right. Right.
can you bring up the stress bundle, Jason? And let's talk
Yes.
about these individual components and how they're involved in stress handling.
Yes.
There's
Yeah. We
5 major products involved that we're
Yeah.
using. Now, it doesn't say that's all there is out there in the industry. There are so many things you can use that help as an adaptogen. There are hundreds of natural adaptogens
Right.
out there, and many of them have synergistic blends that are put together, like one of our formulas, if you could pull it up.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to,
Call,
before we kind of dive into those formulas, wanted to talk about stress for a second. So most people, when they come into our office, we often will educate them on what stress is, because a lot of times it's kind of not really discussed as far as the dynamic of stress. We can't avoid stressors, things that are in our life that are going to, I guess you could say, they're stimuluses in our life, challenges, you could say. Bible talks about trials, stressors, right? And so we cannot avoid stressors in our life, but it's what we do in response to those stressors is what affects our mind, our will, our emotions, our body, our biochemistry. That's what we are teaching people, is how we respond to those stressors. And today we're obviously going to be focusing on nutrition, specifically supplemental nutrients that you can take to help your body to be more biochemically strong to respond to those stressors. So yes, we do have this stress and energy bundle that Steve was just mentioning, and it has, is it 6 actually different supplements that are part of it. So Steve, do you want to dive in and start talking about those
yes,
supplements and what they are?
yes. Thank you for that detailed information on the stressors that we have and what we do to go about handling stress. And this is a constant thing in our life.
Yeah.
And
Well, and can I ask you this, Steve? One more
yes,
thing. Sorry. Um, it is so 80, what is it? 80 or 90% of doctors' visits there's a stress component related to what the patient is sharing with the doctor that is affecting their health. I think it's something really high.
it's like 92%. And what's
Yeah.
tied with that is also 92% of doctor visits are associated with pain.
Yeah.
When there is pain, it's the inflammatory control mechanisms of the body, the prostaglandin synthesis, the leukotriene synthesis. When there's an overreactivity within the body's stimulus of immunity or digestion, and you get this pain and inflammation. Well, it's all been triggered by
Mm,
some type of a stress. Maybe that stress was a chemical. Maybe that stress was something that your mom said to you that day that really hurt you. Maybe that stress was you tripped and fell and really bruised your shoulder when you hit the ground. Just it doesn't matter what the stressor
mm-hmm,
is. It's our adaptation to that needs so much help. And
mm-hmm.
so they know that nutrition today is so important. You really need nutritional support if you want to thrive and enjoy. And God's word
Right.
says, prosper and be in health. Because foods don't have the nutrients that they had in at the Garden of Eden in the perfect
Mm-hmm.
environment to maintain this vessel that every cellular reaction, which there is about 100,000 of them that take place every second between 70 trillion cells in your body, this constant firing and intercommunication is such a beautiful symphony when it's working right. But you could take away one component like vitamin B12 or magnesium or vitamin C, for example. Most people listening to this program right now will definitely say, well, I may take vitamin C once or twice a day, but I don't take it 3, 4, or 5 times a day, which would optimally tune the glands that are and the white blood cell activity. See, white blood cells like neutrophils, they fuel off vitamin C. Vitamin C will activate the peroxide activity within a neutrophil to kill bacteria that we're exposed so much to every day. So the body's constantly at war. That's why you have an immune system. It's a part of how we handle stress, because that's where the first signals start to come internally to the body for stress adaptation to happen. Now, Hans Selye, who coined the term stress in 1939, he really
Mm,
understood stress as a there's positive stresses, there's negative stresses, but there's just stress. We have these stressors in our bodies constantly trying to bring homeostasis balance. Well, it's interesting that they take, and in the book that you just showed, Jason, Adrenal Fatigue, the 21st Century Stress Syndrome, where they talk primarily about the adrenal glands because those glands are two monitoring devices sitting on top of each kidney on each side of your body. And what they do is constant input to help with all these biochemical reactions as the blood flows through the systems of the body. There's a constant interaction of energy that happens through this signaling process. And if we're not getting enough fatty acids, for example, the cell membranes won't transfer the signals. Then we get more of a resistance. Many of you probably heard that, insulin resistance. But even cortisol affects that. So many people have heard of cortisol. So I thought I would throw that out there as one of the hormones that is produced by the adrenal glands. There are many more which help cover for us in menopause for women and menopause for us guys as we get older, but they call it andropause. So you get that dysfunction or that loss of androgen hormone production that builds up when you were younger that comes from the testes or the ovaries, but we still have a backup system. God didn't leave us without support. Those adrenals and the adaptogens in the stress and energy formula, Jason, are from a well-tested and well-tried study that utilized. And could you tell everybody a little bit about that? You're quite an expert on the Prosper Nutrition products.
Right.
So tell them specifically about the Relora and that blend within the stress and energy that the stress and energy bundle has the product Stress and Energy Essential. This is one of the foundational supportive nutrient blends that I use to get people started. And people that will tell me it's like a light switch. I was in the dark and somebody turned on the light when they get this kind of energy that gets coming back into their adrenals without overstimulation of caffeine. This is nourishment. This is calmative effect. There are a number of different plant compounds called phytochemicals, of which the American Cancer Society has on record about 50,000 that they know of that actually have properties that can stop the progression and even reverse cancer cell death in cells as they go in there and help with the repair process. So the body's capable of repairing. We don't take claim for it. Our products don't repair. It is the support that the body needs so that the body, fearfully and wonderfully made, can repair itself. And it will. Just get my dad right now, he's 89, and he had a melanoma removed by a very happy surgeon that dug really deep. And he had this huge wound. And I think I'm going to get his permission, want to show everybody. We could do this later. But at nearly 90 years of age, his wound is healing. His arm is almost completely restored, and it's quite remarkable. But we are designed to do that well into 120 years is the promise. But we have the stress factors, again, that weaken us all. And we have to learn to adapt to stress in a manner that would glorify God, and it's not always easy to do. But tell us a little bit about Relora. Tell us a little bit about those ingredient combinations, the perilla oil in there, working with the other adaptogens. It's just quite a blend. I did a lecture on it in 2007, and I knew and understood adaptogens well before that, but this is pretty exciting. This is Dr. Jaffe's combination, and he hit a home run with this one.
Right. Yeah, we've been using it with clients for a while. And I'll say, you spoke on a lot of different things that I think is important to just before I get into this one product. There are a lot of health issues that you may be dealing with that can be helped and even resolved by nourishing your body with the nutrients that it needs so that your stress can be in better balance. So you get your stress response, your anxiety levels, all that down, and your body starts to heal. It's pretty amazing. You get less insulin resistance at the cellular level. All these conditions start to improve, diabetic type conditions, cancer, heart disease, all this stuff. is connected to our stress response. And so I wanted to kind of summarize that a little bit,
Good.
because one of the things that people will often miss, is that, how is this related to other things? Because, they often will segment the health issues like, well, I have stress, but then I've got the digestion problem, and then I've got this and that. But we have one body, and it's all connected, and the pieces of the body affect one another. And so you work on your stress, and it actually can help a lot of other areas. But one of the things that we use, as Steve mentioned, is the Prosper Nutrition Stress and Energy Essential. And I'll share the screen here for us to take a look at it. This is our product detail sheet. If you go on the website, you go to shop, and you go find the Stress and Energy Balance product. It'll come up right here. And it's a pretty great product. It's got a lot of amazing nutrients. It's micellized in MCTs. Most people have heard that before, medium chain triglycerides and perilla oil. But micellized is one of the keys here. This is something that's not often used in supplements. But when you're dealing with nutrients that get absorbed into the body and utilized in the body in a fat soluble component, then you want to have it in fat, but you want to make sure that fat is able to be taken up by the cells easily. And that's where micellization comes in. Our livers naturally micellize fats by putting out bile. Bile is used to break down fats in our digestive system. So our liver and gallbladder push out bile, and it breaks down fats and puts fats into more of a micelle size, the water soluble kind of, you could say water soluble, but they're small enough components that our body can utilize them at the cellular level. And so we put these nutrients, the Relora, which is what Steve mentioned. It's 2 herbs there's some research done on that product. Relora is technically a product of 2 herbs. And it's been really effective in all sorts of things, reducing stress, helping with insulin resistance, and helping people improve that have diabetes, helping their blood sugar improve. So that's a product that's put in there. And then rhodiola, which is an herb that's known to help a lot with balancing stress levels. And these are adaptogenic herbs. And Steve, I think you mentioned this, but adaptogenic herbs means that when you take it, your body balances. So if you're too low, it'll help bring you up. If you're too high or anxious, it'll bring you back down and kind of get you into more of a balanced state, a balanced biochemistry. So that's something that we really like and is very effective to get your cortisol levels balanced. And I think this is what you were mentioning, Steve, which was the study that was done on this product, the Stress and Energy Balance. They did a study on individuals that were having an imbalance in their cortisol and DHEA numbers. The DHEA is a hormone that helps with relaxation and sleep. And so what it happened is often when people's hormones and stress levels are out of balance, the cortisol in the morning is too low. We need to have a higher cortisol in the morning to kind of get us going for the day. Or the cortisol is jumping up and down during the day too. There's not like a steady flow, steady decrease of cortisol as the day goes on, which is the ideal way. But the DHEA often will be a little too high earlier in the day and then too low later in the day. You want it to gradually increase as the day goes on, so you can kind of get into a calm and a good sleep mode when you get to the evening. So what happened is the people that were in the study, they tested their levels of cortisol and DHEA, and the people that were involved in the study and used the Stress and Energy Balance, more than placebo, they improved their cortisol and DHEA numbers. Cortisol coming up in the morning and being more balanced through the day, and DHEA coming down in the morning and coming up naturally as the day progresses. So that's something that we've done. We can share that information with you if you'd like. You can email us at info@prospernutrition.com. But it's an amazing product, can really help you a lot dealing with stressful situations. Take 2 in the morning, 2 midday, and you should be good to go, and really help you handle the stresses.
Jason, I want to, you brought up those two hormones, cortisol and DHEA, two major
Mhm.
hormones the adrenal glands produce. I want to share with everybody just a little bit of all the things that those hormones do that the adaptogen herbs help to support their production and regulation. And cortisol's response, it acts as a blood sugar regulator and maintains normal blood sugars when people are in stressful modes or in between meals. If they go too long, it'll help bring sugars back up if they're too low, or try to bring them down, of course, after meals. Anti-inflammatory in response to trauma and stress. And it has a catabolic process where it can cause a breakdown of proteins in order for a specific function to be regenerated in other parts of the body. The body will cannibalize itself in order to do repair in other places. So cortisol, quite remarkable. Now, I would call DHEA the cousin hormone, or certainly could even be called a brother and sister hormone, because they do so much interactive with themselves. And when they found out about what DHEA does, they were overwhelmed at this hormone's ability for handling stress, mood, for supporting immunity. It worked inversely with cortisol, so it protect from the overproduction of cortisol in situations of excessive stress. So the body, like there's a great book you can comprehend a little bit about stress called "What Your the Zebras One." I just lost. I was thinking of another book and I just lost the thought of that. Why zebras don't get ulcers.
Yeah, why zebras don't get ulcers. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a great book that helps us to understand that the stress that we're under, folks, that we constantly go about from sun up to sundown, from we get out of bed till we go to sleep, for most of us, we've got devices that are constantly calling on us. There's electromagnetic fields and toxins. The CDC finds 212 toxins in everyone's blood each year when they do their studies to measure how many Americans have these chemicals that are carcinogenic, a large part of them. So we're bodies under this burden, and it's constantly trying to respond. DHE helps reverse insulin resistance, improves immunity, increases strength and stamina, improves vitality, sense of well-being and vigor, helps decrease body fat and increase lean muscle mass, lowers triglycerides, lowers total cholesterol, LDL, inhibits platelet aggregation. So people have sticky
Mhm.
blood, of course, they need this benefit from this hormone, but we've got the other ingredients within there, and there are more on this list, and we can send you that. But just wanted to give them a few tidbits to get them
Yeah.
excited about how God created their bodies fearfully and wonderfully, and these hormones that utilize what he put to us on the earth in Genesis, the everything from the vegetation in the earth that Daniel relied on, pulse from the Hebrew word that means from that which is sown. Folks, eat food that's in God's package. Eat as much of it as you can. Mom's bringing home
Mhm.
a salad for me today, and I am just excited to get that raw food down into my body and let the energy of the enzymes turn on metabolism. But let's
That's good.
go a little bit, Jason, and finish talking
Yeah.
about the
Well,
other products. If you
right.
had,
Oh, I wanted to say this. So we obviously cannot be going into great detail, but we want to share with you as much information as we have time to do. So we would encourage you to go to prospernutrition.com. You can read up on all these products. We've got product evidence sheets. There's a green button on each product page, and you can read more about the product. But to finish up talking about this bundle, there are 6 total products, which again, we can't go into great detail about all the products, but as Steve mentioned, we want to talk a little bit about each one. So one of the ones I would like to talk a little bit about is the multivitamin and mineral. This is something that is really great to help get a lot of the fundamental nutrients. It's got 40 essential nutrients. It is unlike any multi you'll find out there. Usually multivitamins have about 20, 25 at the most different nutrients. Multivitamins won't often have a B complex in them. They will also have an issue with adding oxidants and antioxidants into the same product, which actually creates a lot of problems as far as the ability for that supplement to be utilized in the body. So it's actually a no-no when you're manufacturing a supplement to put oxidants and antioxidants at a high level with one another. Oftentimes people will put things like copper or iron or things like that in their multi, and that'll be a problem. Well, we don't have that in our multi. We keep our multi very much focused on the antioxidant side, and take out the pro-oxidant nutrients that we need, but we need in a more careful balance, and we address that with other supplements. But this one can be taken. I don't know if you can see this here at the top. Its relationship to stress, you take however many your body needs. So if you have a low stress, you're really healthy, you're doing well, the maintenance would be about 1 to 2 a day. But if you're moderately stressed or unwell, you want to up that amount, 3 to 4 of these tabs a day. You get a lot of those nutrients in. And then high stress, if you're dealing with like working long hours, staying up late, getting up early, you're physically exhausted, you've got, maybe family members that are not well, you want to up that even more, 5 to 6 a day. And you can actually track how well your body is taking those nutrients in by the color of your urine. So if you're drinking enough water, because that's an essential part of this, your urine, if you're taking the multi, drinking enough water, is going to be about sunshine yellow. It's going to be a bright yellow color, not too deep yellow and not too faint. It's going to be more of a bright yellow color. And that's something that will help guide you in the amount of this multi that you can take during the day. But that's one I wanted to talk a little bit about, Steve. Which one would you like to grab and elaborate on here for a minute?
I'm glad you did that, Jason, and pointing out on that label that it related the amount to take in the stress. And I often forget about that in our multi.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, don't you think, that we could talk to our formulator and say, hey, the stress and energy balance could have a chart on it that would say it's holiday time. I just had a big party. I had to get up early and put the turkey in the oven, and I had to get things ready. And then everybody came over around noon, and then they stayed and ate till late in the evening. And then we went outside and we had a fire pit, and I was exhausted. So they could actually take 2 more of those stress and energy balance and everything else mid-afternoon, and the extra vitamin C. Most people are not aware that the vitamin C is on there. Not just everybody knows it fuels immunity, as we mentioned earlier, but vitamin C is supportive for those adaptive hormone production. The adrenal glands use twice the amount of vitamin C over any other gland in the body. So its cellular usage of nutrients is higher under stress, of course.
Right.
And we talk about tissue cells. The body's always fueling. So there's a lot of cellular structure here. The acetylcholine activation through our cell energy. Of course, that bottle label has changed. Is that the one we changed to? Yeah,
Yeah,
choline.
so the name will be changing very soon on Prosper Nutrition. We still have a few more bottles with the Cell Energy name, but the name will be changing, folks. This is a good time to talk about it. Thank you, Steve. The name is going to be the primary nutrient, which is choline. So it's a really simple change. You already have heard that the primary nutrient in the product is choline. So now it's going to be called choline. I think it's choline max, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be called. So
Jason, I'm excited to mention about this because you talked about micellization and the process of breaking down fats, but it's also the fatty acids that control inflammation, but it's also has to do with the fat soluble vitamins that need the help of this type of micellization. So choline is heavily involved with that. In fact, that's one of the greatest things that it's known for, is to activate the body's ability to break down fatty tissue so that it can be utilized in the membranes. Well, so it's interesting, and if you read a little bit about acetylcholine, you can understand that all the muscular action in your body, whether it's blinking your eyes or moving your lips or your colon peristalsis muscle flexing every 3 seconds, like a wave to move that food down, or you're moving all day long and you're burning up fuel, this cellular activity constantly needs refeeding, refeeding, refeeding. We need more food. We need more water. We need more rest, of course, stress handling, but we need nutrients in large quantities. And as you come up to the table, or you should, and Jesus said, remember me. I want you to remember this Passover because I want you to do this whenever you eat or drink, all the time. Remember, my body was broken, my blood was shed for you. Taking the time to relax throughout the day and nourish, we're supposed to do that. But we push ourselves and we stress ourselves. God wants that time with you, folks. He wants to connect with you on a level of communication that is greater than anything you've ever experienced. The more time I spend with him, the more time I want to spend with him. Sometimes in the morning now, I will go hours. I'll have prayer and worship time. I'll be reading prayers. I'll be reading scripture passages. I'll be watching devotionals. And I just can't get filled up with enough of God that it can be poured out on all those that we meet, like you, that are going through difficult times. The struggle is real out there. The enemy is constantly trying to steal, kill, and destroy. And I can't go without these. All of these products we're talking about, I take a minimum of 3 times a day. The Cell Energy, just took my second dose at lunch. I'll take a third dose in the evening. I'll take an extra third dose of vitamin C in the middle of the afternoon because these cells are turning over such high energy, and I want high energy. I want to be available for my family and whatever comes my way of stress handling. Had a brother that contacted me and needed some help with something, and it was outside my schedule, but I was able to break free and offer my help. And that's what it's all about. We want to have that ability when we're pushed a little extra, like the zebra running from the lion. We got to do a little running for a minute, but then we can calm back down and get into a natural flow mode that involves nourishing, eating, drinking, relaxing, spending time with the Lord, and then, of course, taking your supplements like I do 3 times a day, especially the magnesium. Folks, the first lecture I heard on magnesium was from a world expert on magnesium that's probably never had the kind of research knowledge about the mineral that she has. It's Mildred Seelig. She's referenced on the product data sheet. We call our evidence sheet. Dr. Jaffe actually was instrumental in getting her to one of the IAACN conferences. I was able to tote her around on a little cart in Las Vegas because it was so far between the meeting rooms and where her hotel or where she needed to get to the elevator. But what a brilliant woman at 85 years of age doing lectures, traveling around the country. And she goes, I don't know why they want to tote me around in this little cart. I can walk just fine. And she was fine with walking all over this hotel, especially with the smoke and whatnot. But that was one of the things she was the world expert on. Spent 35 years studying magnesium. And these are the ideal types of magnesium in the right blend and the right amount that optimize muscle tissue. And Dr. Jaffe is actually working on a patent with this form of magnesium and the choline together that have a chelating binding effect. We hadn't used that word yet in this show, but chelation means like a claw in the Greek. And certain elements in our body have these chelating effects, and magnesium is one of those, bound with choline, and it will bind up calcium buildup, fatty builds up. Those are the 2 main factors in kidney stones, gallstones, and in plaquing in the arteries. And so Dr. Jaffe is trying to get a patented drug here to transform the cardiovascular industry because they know the functional aspect of how the body functions in the heart mechanisms, from all the smooth muscle cells to the heart muscle cells itself. And once you nourish those foundational cells, it's remarkable what you could do. Now, there has been a recorded incident, and I heard this in a lecture, of a gentleman that was hooked up in the hospital to some IVs, and he had a previous heart attack, and he ended up having another heart attack while he was hooked up in the hospital bed, and someone had administered to him during that moment, immediately gave him extra magnesium because they saw, somehow they knew, maybe they got a blood test that day. I don't remember exactly, but low magnesium, got it in his bloodstream, and the heart went back to normal rhythm. So magnesium is key in every beat of the heart. In fact, I used to share with clients that calcium helps contract the heart muscle and magnesium relaxes. So contraction, relaxation, and it's important that they're kept in balance. Most people have excess calcium because they're consuming foods that have fortified calcium in them and yet unusable types of calcium that deposit in soft tissue. We need the magnesium to help chelate, bind, excrete that excess calcium so that our bodies can have free flowing blood again, like they're supposed to. I do about 9 of those a day of the magnesium power, and we typically will start most people on 6 a day, 3 morning, 3 evening, but I take a midday dose as
Mhm.
well. So,
That's good. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. So, and one last one. So, B12 max, there is B12 in the multi, but why is it important that we have this B12 max as a sublingual for people if they're already taking a multi with B12? What is the need for this, Steve?
well, B12 is involved in a process that has become more popular, and a lot of lay people that are not clinicians or professionals in this field can know the term of methylation. Now, a lot of people are getting genetic testing, which we will be bringing more information in the future about. We've got a new genetic in the near future, maybe next week if we get everything nailed down. I'm getting you genetic tested so you can see how much of a methyl defect you have. Now, this is the most active form of B12 called the hydroxyl form that stays for the longest blood shelf life. If you, it's called the half-life. I sometimes call it shelf life. It's the active form that the vitamin can stay in the bloodstream to minister to the tissues and get them activated. So Dr. Jaffe describes methylation in a very unique way, and I love his terminology. He said that this support mechanism of methylation is like the grammar of our communication that we do with linguistics. So grammar determines how we can understand something, and that's between the nervous system and the digestive system and the cardiovascular system are all communicate with one another. This methylation process is heavily involved. It also helps control the level of homocysteine, which is one of the intermediate metabolites of the sulfur proteins, methionine and cysteine, and it needs to be metabolized down into antioxidant form so that the body can use it. If it doesn't break down, doesn't get enough B12, then it builds up in the bloodstream and it's directly linked to cardiovascular disease. Kilmer Sully did some great research on homocysteine levels and heart disease. And I believe that's referenced even in this reference sheet down at the bottom. So
Yeah.
really want to encourage everyone. I just took another B12, my third one of the day.
So it seems like there's a much more of a need for B12 because of our lifestyles here in the US.
And a lot of people have that weakness in their flesh, in the genetics. So that's what I share with them. A genetic weakness is nothing new, but God's made you complete. So there are about 6 or 7 different methyl SNPs or singular, I forget the name of it, nuclear protein. Totally have lost the name of it. SNPs are dysfunctional genetic ends that cause weakness. Well, some people will say, well, I have this genetic SNP, but as long as they're continuing the use of hydroxycobalamin, maybe they've got a heterozygous or homozygous, a more severe type of SNP on one pathway, but they have 4 or 5 other pathways they can utilize. So hydroxyl form is the best to stay in the bloodstream for the longest so your body can methylate it and utilize it. I highly recommend it. It's a sublingual. They actually measured in studies, and I believe it's on there as well. It's the level of B12 in the bloodstream of a sublingual of this type was researched comparative to a injection of B12, and the levels in the bloodstream were higher with the B12 sublingual than they were even with injection. Of course, most injections are synthetic forms, and they've got fillers and binders, which diminish their effectiveness. So can't
Good.
say enough about the B12. Water soluble, again, like vitamin C, you need it every few hours and take it. It's just a necessity
It's
for
great.
stress handling.
Yeah, folks. So to help you beat the stress this holiday season, you want to get this bundle. It's a great price, and we'll give you 10% off to when you order using this coupon code. So your next order, do the stress and energy bundle, and you'll get 10% off. You type in the code at checkout, and there's a coupon code area, and you'll type in 110824 show. That's today's date, the date that we did this show. Now, if you're watching after, it's still going to be good for your next order. 110824 show. You get 10% off this stress and energy bundle. Take advantage of this opportunity, help you beat the stress this holiday season, and help you deal with any other health issues you're dealing with. The stuff that we talked about today, all sorts of health issues that you're dealing with, that you may be dealing with, can be improved when you're focusing on improving your stress response. So thank you so much, Steve. Thank you everybody for watching. Steve, do you have any last things you want to say and share with the folks?
Thank you, Jason. Yes, I just want to pray for everybody. I just got this unction. Lord Jesus, I just lift up the viewers of this program today. Many of them may have not had fathers that really could show the kind of love that you want to show them. You want to show them how you heal, how you save, how you deliver them out of their dark destruction. You sent your word to heal us and deliver us from all destruction. Psalm 107, verse 20. As they meditate in the word, Lord, day and night, let them be planted. Let them be rooted in your truth. Let them walk in a fresh new way, able to turn away old ways that were not edifying, that were not building them up, and take on some new applications for health and healing. And believe you by faith that you've designed them fearfully and wonderfully to be healed, to be saved, to be delivered. Keep them in perfect peace as they focus on you and walk through their fires and their trials of health and life. Thank you for your peace that surrounds us like a shield, Lord, in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, reach out to us, info@prospernutrition.com. You can share anything you have in the comments as well. And join us next time here on the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we're sharing health information to help you prosper and be in health. Y'all take care now.